What is up YouTube? And today I'm going to show you guys another Carrion Crow's Khloros Inferno team that centers around Plume but doesn't actually need Lily. So this team is going to be about like 130 to 140 in terms of speed and will be a pretty high win rate as well, like 90% plus after testing it. So this team's DPS spot is pretty flexible. The only characters that are going to be pretty much crucial for this team to work are going to be Plume, Fushu, and Doki Doki. Now the reason why we're using this setup is because Plume dispels the boss, of course, puts down defense down, has turn cycling for your team, and also has this really broken passive that makes you do more damage, and also reduce speed of the enemies. And then we have Fushu as our sustainer. She's going to shield us, give us turn meter push as well, which synergizes extremely well with Plume's passive. Gives us healing and also gives us a speed buff so we can cycle quick enough to get rid of the boss's buff. Pretty powerful character in general with Plume. And then to tie them all together, we have Doki Doki, who just kind of makes like this trinity of just giga broken supports that all synergize off each other. She's really good here because she gives us speed and damage as well in a different way. She will be able to push our team so we can cycle very quick. She gives this data stream buff, which I just talked about, but also reduces skill cooldowns so you can actually have your Plume use her S3 more often. But more importantly, you can have pretty much almost 100% uptime on this Moonlit Veil, which is going to be extremely important because it's our only source of healing. And also, she can cleanse the debuffs off of us. Very strong because you can get Petrify, you get speed down, and she just gets rid of it right away, which is very important. Now, in terms of the fourth spot, it is your DPS, and you can use one of the three options. You can use Diddy, you can use Yeli, you can use Liliam. I've even seen people use Gray. If you have Gray, he's also pretty good because in this boss especially, because you need to take a lot of turns, he has an extra turn which is pretty good, and it just makes it so that you can reduce the stacks faster while also having a defense down. Now, you can also use something like Rahu. I showcased Rahu on my channel yesterday using a pretty similar team. I'm not going to showcase him today though because I already did it, but I'll show you guys Diddy, I'll show you guys Yeli, and I'll show you guys Lilium, starting off with Diddy for the first team. So basically, you know, the way you want this team to work is you want to make your team all super fast just because you need to take a lot of turns. There's not really any work around it because the boss just one-shots you if he gets the attack off that's buffed from his like 10 stack thing. So because of that, you need your team very fast. You want your Plume on a pretty high effect accuracy build as well because you need her to dispel. I have her on Jackal Guard. I think it's the best shell in this team comp, especially for different team comps. I think Codex is better, but for this one, because Doki Doki is going to push down your CDs anyways, might as well go Jackal Guard for the extra push and the speed buff. Now, in terms of her lattice, I have her S1 maxed and S3 at level 2. I don't really think it's necessary. The S1 max just makes gearing easier because you get speed to help you cycle quicker, and you also will reduce the enemy speed and just make you do more damage. Now the damage portion doesn't really matter because of the fact that you're going to win regardless if you're fast enough, but it definitely does speed up the runs and makes the speed requirements a little lower. Now for your S3 level 2, I just did it because I wanted the dispel chance, makes the win rate higher. Not really required if you have her on high effect accuracy. Now the Doki Doki build, same thing, just build her super fast. I have her maxed for PvP. The only thing I think you really need is S3 max and S1 max. Having the S2 is nice, but definitely not required. Like I said, this is just a workaround for lower speed because it does give you extra speed on the data stream, but not that big of a deal. Now in terms of her build, just put her on full tank. I even have attack bonus, doesn't really matter. But you want her as fast as you can get her, so that she can actually, cycle quickly, get rid of the boss's stacks, and also, just use her abilities more often. For her shell, I like Codex. Some people run her on Jackal Guard, but I found Codex to be better because you can just get your buffs up on your team a lot quicker. And if you run Jackal Guard, you don't proc it until her third turn, which is not really worthwhile in my opinion, so I have Codex for her. Now for Fushu, you can run her on whatever setup you want, really. Just make sure that her S3 is at level 3 so you get that extra turn meter push. And for me, I just have her on Fortissimo Swift Rush. Some people run her on Jackal Guard as well because, like I said, you just need to cycle quickly to reduce the boss's stacks. But I like Fortissimo because it gives you just extra safety and extra healing. And I even have her on Synergy to make the runs a little bit quicker. Now in terms of your DPS, I'll show you the builds for Yeli and Lilium at the start of the runs, but for Diddy here, basically just full damage. Ideally, you do want Swift Raid. I think Swift Raid's actually a lot better in this fight than Fury Edge because, like I said, speed is the name of the game for this fight because you need to reduce the boss's stacks by taking turns. But Kenai, Fury, Swift Raid, or Kenai, Fury, Fury Edge is going to be the best for him, and also Lilium. For Yeli, you're going to want to run her on something like this, where you're going Harvest, Fury, Fury Edge, Swift Raid is better, like I said, and on Revelation. Now for Lilium and Diddy here, you want to go Count. You can also go White Fang. White Fang's also okay. I also think this shell, the new shell, is pretty good for him and also Lilium, so I'll test that out later, but this is essentially the build and the setup that you're going to want to go for. Now I'll show you guys the run. I'm going to show you guys three, one with him, one with her, and then one with her. I'll show you guys the stats for the DPS at the start of each run so you guys don't have to worry. So I'll show you the run with Diddy first. P Diddy here is on this setup here, and yeah, I showed you guys the build earlier, but basically the run just plays out pretty much how you would think. Doki Doki pushes us up, and then Plume is going to dispel the boss here and apply defense down, and then Fushu will then put up her S3, and you're just kind of going into the boss over and over. And at the start, you're going to do okay damage. Because we have Jackal Guard on Plume, the target from Diddy here will go into the boss. We do land the vulnerable, which is very nice. It just ends up speeding up the run. It's not required because we're not going to get DPS checked in this boss. If anything, you either get heal checked or speed checked, right? But this does speed up the run, which is nice. And you're going to see that you're just pretty much hitting the boss over and over. And the team pretty much synergizes super well here. You can see my S3 from Plume is already backed up because of Doki Doki's S2. And Plume goes again. She's stacking up her passive, her Quill. We also get the S3 from our DPS. And yeah, we're just hitting the boss over and over and over. We reapply speed buff. And you can kind of see why this trio of supports just synergizes super well together. You can see the defense down does go down here, which is unfortunate, but we do get Doki Doki to push us, and we will land it again. Sure, there she goes. She'll dispel the speed buff as well. Defense down, weakness will take a lot less damage here. Just a super broken support, honestly. And you can see when we get pushed back by the minion, we actually get pushed up because we have Fushu and Plume on our team with their really broken passive. So that's the team with him. I'll show you guys the Yeli team next, and then the Lilium team. So this is the Yeli team. It's the exact same stats for the supports that I showed earlier. And now for Yeli, you're going to see that she's on this setup on Fury, Harvest, Revelation, and yeah, pretty much the same thing. Even though she's not as fast, it's okay because we have so much cycling on this team and turn meter push that you don't really need it, honestly. And there we go again. Plume will S3. The nice thing about Yeli is that if we do end up missing the defense break, Yeli has a chance to apply it again. But of course she doesn't have like the vulnerable from the Diddy, which will make you do even more damage if you land it. And compared to Lilium, Lilium has like an attack buff for herself, right? Which is nice, but she doesn't have that. But Yeli does do very, very well. The runs are going to be very, very comparable in terms of how they play out, and even their speed, and also their win rate, which is very nice. So what I'm trying to say is, it's pretty much up to you what character you want to end up using. Here we go again, another S3. Reapply the defense down. You can see Yeli will go again. The only thing with Yeli here is because we're using Doki Doki, the Revelation timing won't line up with her S3, but it doesn't really matter because, like I said, there's no hard DPS check, and it's not like you lose out on all the value out of your Revelation. You still get like half of it, I'd say. You can see here, even on this turn, we got the minimum amount of follow attacks at 1, and she still did a decent amount of damage. And here, Plume's gonna go again. Super broken with Doki Doki because you're just spamming your S3. And of course, Yeli decides to follow up a lot when it's not the revelation timing, because that is how we roll. The minion tries to push us back, but we actually get pushed up. And the boss is 100% dead here. So that is the Yeli team. I'll show you guys the Lilium team next. So I'll show you guys the Lilium team. My Lilium's at 94% crit rate, and the reason why is because I have crit damage on the second passive, and I should probably change it to crit rate and then drop the crit rate on my other pieces and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't have the chips for it, and it's not really worth it for a PvE piece. But regardless, she's on Kenai, Fury, Swift Raid, same as my Diddy, and then basically she is going to be really good here because she has that attack buff for herself that no one else on this team provides. Now in terms of like her versus Yeli, if you're comparing them both, Yeli has potential for faster runs, but you have to keep in mind there's a lot of RNG, where Lilium is just, you know, very, very stable, same speed runs pretty much all the time. Maybe not mine because not 100% crit. But basically what she's going to do is just do a ton of burst damage on the opener, especially when the boss is below, or not below, above 50% health. And she is able to keep herself speed buff the entire fight, and also just lifesteal up constantly with not only count, but with her S1 as well. You can see right there I was able to take the last turn before the 10th one, which is why you want to make sure your speed is decently high on all your characters. The speed requirements are pretty high for this boss, which is pretty unfortunate. And the reason why is because the minion can actually, well, not can, does speed buff the boss. So if you don't actually dispel it off because you get unlucky, you want to like kind of have like a safety net by making your team fast enough to cycle. I'm gonna push up Plume here. I do think she S3s. Oh no, she S1s. But she just took 2 turns in a row with Doki Doki, which is hilarious. And you can see we're getting pushed up. This is going to spell. We do miss the defense down, but it's okay. We will be able to take out the buff with 3 more turns. Oh, and the boss just dies. Okay. So yeah, that's the run with Lilium, and you can see that her team is very, very good as well. But there you have it, guys. Another team comp with Plume for not the fastest speed runs because it's like 140-ish, but decently fast because it's below 2 minutes. And you can just see that she is just an amazing, amazing character for this shell boss, and also just for PvE in general. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video.